Hello, and welcome to the Stormgate Editor Preview. My name is James Farris. I'm the lead engineer on the Stormgate Editor project, and I am so excited to finally be able to share this with you guys today. It's been a real labor of love taking our large internal development tool with all of its warts and blemishes and preparing it for a public release. In order for us to do this, we've limited the initial set of features down to something that's manageable for us, and we're calling this first release the Terrain Editor Alpha. As the name suggests, it includes everything you need to be able to make a custom map from scratch, including the terrain, starting placements, doodads, etc. Everything you need to make a custom map for the standard player versus player game mode. Now we have a lot of other features that we're excited to release over time, including our data editor, which lets you edit units, add new units, edit abilities, weapons, buffs, all those things. As well as our trigger editor, which lets you build high-level logic to just take your maps to the next level. We use these tools internally to build our 1v1 game mode, our co-op game mode, campaign, and the upcoming Team Mayhem game. We're really excited to get those into your hands to see what kind of amazing things you guys end up making. For now, let's get started with a standard PvP map. Now if you look here, I've got the editor open, and there's a lot of information here, but one of the things I want to encourage is that if you're interested at all in making maps for Stormgate, that you would come and join our Stormgate Discord server and join the map editor channel. That's a great place to ask questions, to provide feedback, report bugs, as well as share your awesome ideas. When you are presented with this screen, the first thing you can do is you can press Get Started, and that will take you right into the editor. You can start making a map there. But today, I have an idea of a map I want to make. It has a specific map size, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new map. I'm going to go to File up here, and I'm going to hit New Map. It's going to open up the New Map dialog. Now this lets you set things like the width and height of the map, as well as the tile set, and whether there's water or not, things like that. And I know what I want to do today is make a standard map, a PvP map, that's like an island, with 2 players on either side. Kind of inspired by Booty Bay from Warcraft 3. So I'm going to start with making the height a little bit shorter than the width. So I like a width, I'm going to say 192. And I'm going to make the height something smaller, like 128. And there's a lot of tile sets to choose from here, but I'm just going to stick with Forest Autumn. And I like sand. I think sand's going to be good. It's going to be kind of an island theme, so sand would be good. And I'm also going to set the initial water level to shallow water, because I want the combat to happen kind of in the water. That's kind of what my design for it is. And I also like the day-night cycle, so I'm going to keep that on as well. I'm going to press OK. And here we are in the map. There we go. So I'm going to first start out by just kind of walking through some of the UI here. So on the left-hand side, we have our tool settings. And here's the tools here. And you can switch between the different tools to change which tool is active. And as you change the tool settings panel changes as well. So there's a lot of different modes for each of the tools, different settings that you can use to change how the tool's interacting with the map. As well, on the other side is a details panel, and if you have something like a unit placed, zoom in. If you have a unit placed, it shows you information about the unit, but it also lets you transform the unit here with typing in numbers or rotate the unit, things like that. You can also change the owning player this way, but for now we're going to start with terrain. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is an island map, so I want this is all shallow water here, but what I want to do is kind of surround it with deeper water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the cliff height all the way around the map here. I'm just going to give myself a big brush, and I'm going to start painting like this. I'm just going to lower the cliff height so that what we're looking at here is deeper water. Yeah, deep water. But I also want the same thing to happen on the other side of the map, and I don't really want to repaint this twice, so I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to turn on the symmetry mode on the rotational 2 setting. And that's going to let me, you can see the cursor here is kind of mirrored along that symmetry line. And this lets me paint over here on this side, but then also see that the same painting is happening on this side over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and surround the whole island with deep water. Something like this. You know, I gave myself a bit of room on the sides. I don't think I'll use the whole map, but something like this, it looks pretty good. Maybe I'll, you know, switch to the flatten tool and just kind of clear out some more of it. I kind of want it to go in a bit, you know, have the combat happening kind of in the middle, you know, a little bit like that. Maybe, yeah, something like this. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to create the starting areas, and I want those to be elevated. So I'm actually going to lift up the starting area here off of the shallow water and kind of on another cliff level. So it looks something like maybe like that. There's a starting area on either side, so it'll be mirrored across the horizontal axis there, or the vertical axis, I mean, mirrored horizontally. And I do want to have a way to get up into the starting area. So I'm going to go ahead and just flatten that out a bit more so I have this nice cliff face. And the time of day is running, and I'm going to just turn that off real quick. So I'm going to hit pause down here, and then I'm going to hit this button. That's going to transition it to the next kind of major time of the day, in this case noon. So now we're just looking at noon, and I like that. I'm going to do my development in the noon times. So here's our starting area. I think this looks pretty good as a good starting area initially. I want the combat to kind of happen in the middle. And so what I want to do is just kind of lift this up a little bit. I'm going to use the height tool in the raise mode to just kind of like raise this up a bit. And you know what? I actually want symmetry turned off for this because I want this to look a little bit asymmetrical in the middle. The important bits are symmetrical, but the kind of the detail bits, I don't mind being asymmetrical. Then I'm going to use the blend tool to kind of get rid of these big jaggies up here. Just kind of blend it down so that we kind of have like a little island of fighting area here. And this will be right between the two bases. And the players will be able to come out and do combat here. That seems cool to me. The other thing is I also want to put in an expansion somewhere. And I'm kind of feeling like right in here is a good spot for the expansion. Okay, and we've got a little bit of area for ramp here. So I'm going to do that as well. This is where the ramp's going to go. And I do want to flatten that out a little. Give it a little bit more space. This is where we get to be creative. You know, it's fun. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I kind of like that. That's kind of neat. Maybe we can do something interesting with that little space. But that's what it looks like there. And let's look over on the other side. Yeah, not bad. Okay. So now that we have our primary and we have our expansion, I kind of want to also give a little bit of pathway here. So I'm just going to also go in and just put another ramp in here. Like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. Same here. So it's symmetrical on that side. And then we're going to go ahead and place down our starting units, our starting placement. So we can click on this in the unit browser here. This is a entity placement tool. So this lets us choose between a number of different types of entities and then pick which thing we want to place down and then place it down. So here, and you can see this works with the symmetry tool as well. You can see over on that side, over there, that I've also got a starting placement entity. And I'm going to go ahead and just place it right, maybe, yeah, right here. I think what we're going to do is also just give this a bit more space too. Let's just take this out a bit here. Something like that. Yeah, just give it a little bit of weird jaggies. And the next thing we want to do is I'm going to turn symmetry mode off again. I'm going to select this unit over here, or this entity. It's placed starting location. And I'm going to set it from player 1 to player 2. So now this is where player 2 will spawn. And over here, this is where player 1 will spawn. And then next thing we need to do is go ahead and place some of our resources. So in the resources section, we have a luminite mine that we can place down. And I'm thinking I'm going to put it like right here. It's not too bad. Oh, symmetry mode. Turn on symmetry mode. Place it down. Yep, looks good. Then I'm also going to take a Ethereum generator, place that down as well. I think right here is probably fine. And this is looking pretty good. And this is the expansion, right? So we're going to put let's just put Ethereum generator over here for now. And that's the expansion. We'll also be generous. We'll give a luminite mine too. So something like that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Nice. The next thing is, like this, right here at this point, we've got a playable map. I could hit this test map button up here and we could go straight into playing the map. However, it looks a little boring. So I'd like to theme it up a little bit, maybe paint some terrain textures down, just kind of make it more interesting. And the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is switch over to the paint terrain tool. And I'm going to be able to pick from these different textures over here in the tool settings and kind of give my map here a bit of flavor. So you can see I can paint down grass here like this. I don't like it full. I don't want to use fixed. I want to kind of have it blend in with the dirt. So yeah, see, like that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. And I also like this really kind of bright green. It's one of my favorite. I like that. Looks good. So I'm going to put some of that down there as well. Yeah. But then I also feel like this is where the combat's going to be happening. It's maybe we just put a little bit of we'll turn symmetry mode off for a second, but not forget it. Here we go. And put a little bit of stone in there too. I kind of like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm also going to do the same thing over here in the starting location, just kind of theme it up a bit. So I also, again, I like the grass. So I'm going to put some grass down. Oh, symmetry. So I'm going to put some grass down over here along the edges because I kind of feel like if this is a plateau with a bunch of grass on it, which I kind of would like it to be, let's increase the radius here. Let's just go do this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I kind of feel like the middle of it, which is where like most of the base is, maybe isn't as grassy. Like that's where the foot traffic is going to be happening. So there's going to be less grass and more dirt. So maybe we'll just remove by holding shift and inverting the intensity and just remove some of that grass. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And there's a pathway down here too, right? So let's get the pathway down there to the expansion as well. And with the expansion, we're also going to go ahead and paint some grass up here so that the higher ground has got grass on it and the lower ground on the map is the water. Fighting's going to happen in the water. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. And maybe we'll also do the same thing, adding some kind of rock in here. I kind of like rock along the edge too, because it's like a cliff, This is where you get to be a little Bob Rossi and start painting and like really throwing in some interesting designs and stuff. I'm going to go with more grass too, because I like the different shades of grass. Like this is a darker grass here, kind of mix it up a bit. And then finally, I'm going to use dirt to kind of build like the walkable path, like maybe a smaller amount of dirt. Just use this to be able to be like, this is where people are walking, kind of a path. And I could do this all the way through the water here, and I may even just, for the sake of the water, I may just go fixed value here and just kind of curve the path around just to lead the eye to where you're supposed to go. And then back up on land, I won't use the fixed anymore. I'll just blend in a bit of dirt here just to kind of make it like this is a rough path. There's been movement, Increase the intensity a bit. Yeah, something like this. And since I've had symmetry mode on this whole time, that means if I move the camera over here to this side, then this side of the map is also already painted for us, which is really cool. Now this looks a bit flat. Like, yeah, there's grass, but like we could do more. So I think what we're going to do here is take the foliage brush and just paint down some foliage. And what you're going to see that does is it actually places these grass cards here that sway in the wind and look nice. And that kind of just adds a bit of depth to the terrain in a really cool way, I think. So I'm going to paint some of that around here as well, just to kind of give it a bit more oomph, as you're looking at it. Look, like that's really flat, but then you come over here and it's like, ooh, I see grass, it's nice. We can do that over here as well. Just around the edges, not going crazy with it. I'm not going to go into super in-depth with all these tools, but just enough to show you what it takes to make, a map pretty quickly. So here we go. We've got our two sides of the map. We've got a full playable standard PvP game mode here. Now, it also still feels pretty flat, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint some of this into the ground here, because I kind of like the look of like, water has a bit of greenery in it. So I kind of like this, I kind of like the look of that. So I'm going to go with that. But that's not even enough. I think we need to start painting some more. I mean, come on. we got to be painting more here. Let's just put in some patches of rock just to kind of sprinkle it around in here to break up the monotony of the dirt, you know. Ooh, too much over here, I think. Yeah, this is artistic vision here, you know. Where do you want to put some of this? And I like this other rock, maybe even better than the darker rock. But we're just going to go a little bit nuts here and just paint a bunch of terrain just to break up the map a little. But I think we can go further too, and that's where doodads come in. So now we can really start to add some interesting elements to the map. I know of a doodad that I want to put right in the middle here. So I'm going to switch over to the doodad browser. Extend this out a bit so I can get more than one. And I'm going to type in tree. I know of a certain one that I'm looking for. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, there's palm trees too that we can use. That would really make it feel like an island. This one, I love this one. The rock with stump. So let's take a look at this guy. Yes, it has these cool features of these vines coming down. It's really interesting, and I like it a lot. So I think I want to use that here just as kind of like a centerpiece for the map, you know. Have the rock with the vines coming down. It's kind of like the middle of the battleground, you know. And if you hit P, then you can see the boundaries of this object and the collision it's going to create here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this guy, and maybe I'm going to just even scale him up a little bit. Do I want to scale him up? Yeah, why not? Like that. That looks pretty good. So now units won't pass through this because of that area, the bounds of the footprint of that doodad. But there's a lot of other things we can place down here too. If we type in rand, then we're going to get a bunch of things that are called random doodads, and they have variations on them. So if I select fern and I go down to randomization here and I pick randomized seed, then every time I place one of these ferns down, it's going to place a new version of it, like a different variation of it, which is kind of nice. It makes it really easy for us to just like paste down a bunch of doodads and make it look pretty neat. Like that's a big bush. We'll put that one there. It's a little smaller bush. I like that. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's put some more stuff around here. Just kind of add a little bit of life, you know, to the scene here. I like that. That looks pretty good. Turn pathing off for a minute. Yeah, I like the way that looks. There's other things like these kind of reeds, little grass patches we could throw in here to kind of make it look a bit like we have some, you know, some bigger, taller grass in the water, which would be kind of interesting to fight in. Let's see, we have these flat rocks that we can place around that just add that extra little oomph, you know, extra bit of detail to the map, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. So that looks pretty good in the middle there. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe we also want to place some trees down too, because this is like, feeling a bit flat over here too. So I'm going to go back to the trees. Tree. And you know what? I'm going to go with destructible trees this time. So we're going to switch over to the entity tool and click on destructible. Now this gives us the destructible tree, which I think we don't want to use. We want to use that one? This one. Here we go. Now this one has a footprint attached to it, and it's also a random doodad, so it has different variations. And you can see if I hit Z, it's going to change which variation we're placing. And I like that because it's going to give us some pretty cool, you know, interesting kind of tree line here. But I don't like how kind of grid-based it is. And if I don't like that, I can hold Shift and I can just place it wherever I want to in the grid. It won't be, the collision will still snap to the grid, but the doodad won't. So it can kind of go, you can kind of put it in different places, really break up the repetitive nature of it. And you know what? I did all that without symmetry on because I was working in the middle. And that's okay. We'll just come in here and we'll grab all these, copy, flip around over here, and I'm just going to paste them. Maybe I'm going to paste them this way. Now I'm just going to place them here for a second. And then I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to rotate them 180 degrees like this. And then I'm going to move them all up here. Oops. Not bad. Grab them, move them up here like this. You know what? Let's flip around here. I think that's still pretty good. Yeah. That's cool. It just adds a little bit of flavor. We got some trees. I like that. Maybe there's other things we could add too, you know, like fences and buildings and other such things. But for now, I think we're just going to keep it simple. And you can see there's a whole lot of things to choose from here. But we're just going to keep it simple. I'm going to put some more trees up because I like the trees. Just going to place some over here, make it look kind of neat. Maybe a couple on this side just for fun. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Something like that, just to break things up. And also, I'm kind of feeling like I want the main fight to happen through here, but there's this kind of gap here. So I thought maybe what we'll do is we will lift the height up over here, and we'll put in some light forest, which could be kind of interesting. So we're going to lift this up over here, and then we're going to do the same thing again like we did in the middle, just blend it out. But I'm also going to put some grass here. You know, I like the bright green grass. I'm going to put some of that in here because we're going to put some trees along this little bit here. Yeah, maybe some more grass. We're going to put in some lighter grass kind of over here on this side. And then I want to undo some of the darker stuff that we did. So I'm just going to shift, invert the intensity, and remove this stuff. Oh, that's this other kind. There we go. Yeah, so that looks pretty good actually right there. I like that. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but this time we're going to go for the light forest, which is a destructible light tree here. And I'm just going to place some of these, maybe not that one. Let's go with this one. Yeah, that's good. With P, with the footprints enabled, by pressing P, I can then place these down here. And I'm going to just alternate them like this, so that way the little units can get through it, but the big units can't. And also just indicate that this is indeed light forest. Something like this. Yeah, that looks good. And it should be the same on that side as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. I like how that looks there. And there we have it. You know, I think this is pretty good. I think this is a good place to go. So then I'm going to save. I'm going to pick a name for my map. I'm going to call it Island Map. And hit save. And then when I'm done saving the map, I can hit Test Map. And it's going to take us right into the game. And we're going to be able to play this map. There we have it. Loading into the game. Go. Here we are. And you know what? I learned how small the scale of this is. There's not a lot of room to build. But now I can go back and iterate. Maybe I'll expand this starting area out a bit more, make some more room. But for now, this is it. You know, this is the map. First map. Very exciting stuff. And I'll just go ahead and exit on out of here and take you back. But this is us playing our map here. Very exciting stuff. So we're going to exit, take us back to the login screen. Now we know, yeah, we need to make that starting area a bit bigger. Yeah, but that's the idea there. And so from here, you know, we iterate on the map, we continue to improve on it, and then when we're ready to host the map for other people to play it, I'll take you through that experience here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit exit, take us back. And we're going to log in with Steam. We go to the custom tab, create, and then our map is right here. So this says custom blah, 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 blah. And that's because we are still in the process of introducing the filtering for names. For now, this is the name that you're going to use, and then you're going to go ahead and create your map. There we go. We hit start game and we're back in the game again. Good stuff. Let's just run this guy over here and take a look. See our tree in the middle of the map. Cool, cool, there it is. I like it. Let's go take a look at the enemy base too. Yep, there we go. Good stuff. Now, if we wanted to introduce additional players to the game, we're not stuck with just 1v1 maps. Now we can add more players. So I'm going to reopen the map editor, go back into the map again, and I'm going to add some more starting locations. Let's just go ahead, just for the sake of it. We're going to add another another starting location over here. Say this is player 2 starting location. Oh, nope, we're going to do a symmetry mode enabled. There we go. Pause the time of day again. That'll be the new starting area, but then we'll place the starting location for the other players. Turn off symmetry mode. I'll select this guy here. So I'll say this is player 2 now. This one's player 1, this one's player 2, this one's player 3 now, and this one's player 4. Now we have 4 distinct starting locations, and if we go to the map settings, under map settings, we can adjust a number of different options for the map, including what the player slots there are. So there's an entry here for each player, and a value that says what type of slot they are, either human, AI, or closed, and whether it's locked, as well as the team. So what we have here is player 0 effectively, and player 2, well, player 1 and player 2, and we can make the second player slot AI and keep it unlocked, and make the team 0, so that player 1 and player 2 are both on team 0. And then we can add 2 more players, 2 more player slots, and we can say that this is not locked, and it's AI for now by default. And then we'll say it's team 1. Player 4 slot is a AI by default. We're going to make it unlocked so people can change that value if you're a host. And then we'll also make it team 1 like this. So now you have a 4-player map. And if I was to test this map now, we'll see that we'll be allied with another player. That player will spawn next to us, and then the enemy will have a player that spawns next to them. Of course, we didn't put any ramps in, so they're going to have a hard time getting out of that primary, but maybe they have to focus on air units. Yeah. So here's me, and then if I look up here, here's my ally who spawned in that other spot. So that's the simple way to make a multiple, a 2v2 or a 3v3 map following those steps. But that's it. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see this. I'm excited for you guys to play around with it. Please join the Discord server. Post any feedback you have, report any bugs, ask any questions, share your creations. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Thank you very much. Bye now.